I'm recording. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining today. Today's Table Talks. I am your host of today's broadcast, Vernice Michelle, and we have the lovely April Starks and the
I
beautiful
messed up
Martina
last week.
Young. In today's session, we are going to be talking about solutions for grief. That is a powerful subject that I think that we are going to just hit off at the top of the year for January. We have all experienced our own levels of grief. And I think that it's good for us to go ahead and give solutions because that's a process that we will continue to be in because loss happens in life. Loss of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of a partner. We all have to grieve those things. And so grief is something that we're going to talk about. We're just going to give solutions. And so, April and Martina, would you all like to introduce yourself and also just express your relationship as it comes to grief? Where are you in the spectrum, of grief and your solutions for it? Let's just hit it.
Jump right into it. Well, my name is Martina Young, and
April, who
woo,
wants to go first?
um, I'll jump in. Um, I have a I'm gonna say a long standing relationship with grief. So all the way back as we were preparing to talk about this, I just started thinking about different things, and for me, it started back to even as a child. When I was born, all of my grandparents had already passed away except for one, my grandfather, and he passed away when I was 7. I really don't remember that much about that because I was a child. And then later on in my 20s, my aunt, who was really more like a grandmother because she was so much older than my mother, passed away. And I just remembered like how difficult and challenging it was just to process that moment and to get through that. And following that, I had my my first Christian. I always called her my first Christian friend, my first Christian close friend once I committed my life to Christ. And my spiritual mother all passed away within 3 months of each other. um then it literally has been a continuous just road and process of learning and how to deal with that. And later on I had another cousin who was like an aunt, and some of these were unexpected. And then in the 2019, my brother, um, most recently, one of my very close friends. And so it's just been a journey of situations, processing, and that's just some of them. There's been several others along the way, and God really, through this path, has taught me the way for me for processing grief. Because as we were beginning to talk, one of the things, April, that you mentioned that I totally agree with is that everybody grieves a different way. But essential for me in processing grief has been like managing. I'm going to start off with this and then come back with some other things later. But when my brother passed away in 2019, one of the things that really helped me through that moment is that God enabled me to picture grief as like the waves of the ocean. And I really, really love the beach. Okay. So, like, the beach for me is a place of refreshing. And he had me to picture it as if I was at the beach, and I'm not, not a swimmer. but I go out far enough for the waves to hit me. And so he like allowed me to picture how when I'm at the beach and the wave comes and I see a wave coming, or if a wave comes suddenly, I have to like set my feet in the sand to try to keep the wave from knocking me over. Like I strengthen my stance so that the wave won't knock me down in the water. And so he like ministered to me in grief that way. That literally, that when you see the wave coming, that you have to like steady your feet in the sand. And he allowed me to picture my feet as with the our feet are shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. And in those times, and when it's talking about that in scripture, the Roman soldiers had spikes on the bottoms of their shoes that helped them to stand against anything that was coming against them. And so I would picture myself with my feet shod with the preparation of gospel peace, and like literally that he would strengthen me to stand. And in the moments when a wave comes and overtakes me, just like when I'm at the beach and the wave knocks me over, I have to get back up. And so for me, a big part of my grief solution has come in, like picturing that as I am at the beach, as the waves come at the sea, as it knocks me down, to get up. And so really, that's just a kickoff moment. But literally that was very was a helpful moment for me. So
I like that. I think that's good too, because
And yeah, so
I'm
April,
currently.
those Martina, the waves that
Were you talking, Bernice?
all right.
I think I was frozen. There's some delay, and so I think I was percent with the waves that Martina spoke about. And April, would you like to add your point? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say the grief comes in waves was really good, because I'm currently in the grieving process. So I embrace where I am. I'm not trying to run from it. I'm not trying to deny it. I know that I'm in that process. And something that Bernice did share with me, even in the past, on my mom, was, just let it come in waves. And so honestly, that's what I've been rehearsing in my head, that it is going to come in waves. I can laugh about it now. It wasn't funny at the time, but I'll share with you all, just speaking with someone, and I was talking to them about business. And they were unaware of the passing of my mom. And so when they asked me, is everything okay? It just opened the floodgates. And I honestly didn't see that wave. So to Martina's point, that was good. I think that wave, I was turned away from the ocean, looking at the hotel resorts or something. And that wave, it came up behind me. I wasn't ready for that. And it was just a simple question. The person asked me, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I went into the ugly cry to the 10th power. And I couldn't talk. And this person was so afraid, because they didn't know what was going on. And they were concerned about me. And, my husband ran in from the other room, because he was like, what's going on? He thought somebody was on the phone, like torture me or something. I don't know. He's like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? And I was like, it's not that person. Like, they just asked me a simple question, and I could not function right for the next 10 minutes, so that way really snuck up on me. And I was okay with that.
Yeah.
And it let me see that I may have moments like that. I had another moment at work with, me and a coworker, just sharing, and that was good for both of us, actually. She got her refreshing and I got my refreshing. And so that's how I kind of see it now. I kind of phrase it as a refreshing. Let me have those moments, and it's a time of refreshing. And so I don't avoid them. I don't run from them. I may have times where I'm simple as being in the tub, you relaxing, you got your Epsom salt and scrub or whatever, and just let it roll, let it, come out, and then, I just feel refreshed. So I'm in the process. I said all that to say I'm in the process. I might have a moment today, and, that's okay. So I'm taking it a day at a time, and not just on top of that, the grief from the loss of my mom, but also other individuals that are really, really dear to me, going on to be with the Lord. So there's a side of me that my humanity side mourns, my humanity side grieves, because you're going to miss them. But there is another side of me that gains rejoicing at times. Because I'll have a moment and I'll, think about my mom, or think about, someone dear to me, like my dear friend Tanya, and different ones. I'll think of a memory or a conversation we had, and I'll smile, So I'll take those moments too. I'll take the moments that don't make me cry, that make me smile. And then the rejoicing to know that they're at peace, that helps at times as well.
Yeah.
Their soul is resting. That gives me joy at times. So those, I guess that's the that's the roller coaster. And I don't like roller coasters, by the way.
Me either.
Take me to Kings Island. One time my family went to that one park in Ohio, I think, that has all the big ones. I didn't get on none of. I don't like roller coasters. So just like roller coasters, the rides, I don't like roller coasters in life. I don't like them. But we gotta ride them. Yeah. And like you said, Martina, we gotta just brace our feet. If we fall, we get back up.
Yeah.
I've had days where I didn't do nothing and I was okay. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to text. I don't want to be on social media. Love y'all. See ya. Yeah. All of that. And I've taken it and embraced it, and not crafted my journey based off someone else's journey, to really craft my journey and my process. I think everybody needs to create a process for themselves of what that looks like. So even with my mom, like for the first 30 days, I knew that I wanted to kind of seclude myself. It didn't mean that, I was giving up, but I needed that space to just, I wanted to be in the moment, because I've seen, just sometimes how you just keep going and then it crashes. Like I wanted to really take a moment, embrace all of it in, just take it in and keep going. Because I know it's going to be another moment where I'm going to like really hit me, because I'm still dealing with business stuff right now.
Yeah.
When I get done with that, I'm already bracing myself like it's going to hit, like hit, because right now I'm taking care of this and what business and calling on business and accounts and stuff and trying to square away business. When that gets done, y'all got to pray for me. So
that's the thing about it. Is yes. It's just the way that, with the wave, some of them are sneak attacks, and you don't know. Bernice, were you gonna say something? So, at times, go ahead.
Actually, give my account of what
she'll probably join back in with us. Yeah, okay. I want to hear her account, because I think it's really good. I mean, yes. I know her story and process, even from last year, is going to really help us in the conversation, because her sharing helped me, actually. when I was going through my process, her sharing really helped me along the way. So I'm looking forward to hearing her kind of share that process. So even for you, Martina, can you share a little more? You were talking about just even from your brother, like the closeness.
You know, and one of the things that really helped me with that is reflecting on things that leading up to that moment, like looking at them in a positive perspective, because a month before, I mean, he went in the hospital. One Saturday morning, like, we talked so long that the cordless phone just kept dying. Like, like the phone, the battery would go out. And it was just like I was the only one at home. He was the only one at home. And we just talked and talked and talked. And so I looked at that as like a gift from God, that I had that time. And prior to that, it had been his birthday, and there was just something in me that was like, we have to do something for his birthday, and had no idea that, but we'll get back to that. Bernice, we want to hear your side.
Well, I
That's
apologize for the technical difficulties, first of all, that I'm having with my device right now. And so I'm just going to keep, fighting and then keep on talking. Life does go on. And so I want to say that I feel blessed because this process kind of started before my sister transitioned. And so there are people who I want to honor, those people who deal with sudden grief. To where it just comes because you have learned one thing suddenly. And so I don't want to negate those people from the conversation that we're having right now, because some people don't get to prepare. And so I am blessed because there was like a preparation, to where I was able, my sister, she went in, and I kind of gradually take on, she's here, my grieving process started. And so for me, one of the solutions, I was like, I felt like I was losing my mind. And I really had to ask the Holy Spirit to come and show me what to do. And one of my solutions for grief was to go outside in my backyard, and lay out on a blanket. I love this. And I just laid out there and just cried. I know my neighbors were like, what is wrong with something necessary for me to do? That I had to get out there. And you talked about Martina, being planted in the waves, but I felt like I had to be grounded. Like, I was all over the place with my emotions. And so I would just like to urge whomever, whatever type of grief that you're experiencing, allow to give you because sitting out the sun, not everyone in my family did it, but it was something for me that I felt, crying out, and that exchange between me and God. And so find your antidote to what is did that, noticed that it brought grief. I would sit in the sun sometimes because I remembered that that was an antidote for me. And so that is a solution that I would is to allow the Spirit of God to speak to you and say what is going to heal me in this moment. Because I'm going to need another time, because healing is a process. You know, it's not a one-time thing. If we take this pill, it's going to come. And so now that I know that the wave is going to come, one of my in my of my grief solution to journal my essential oils. You know, I've collected some essential oils that kind of just help my being to be in at peace. So those really help in calming me. And yeah, just to find your solution and work it for you. You know, because healing is a process. And so what's, you know, in this in grief, there is a point to where it gets good. You know, grief can be so. Um, we are all in this conversation. The three of us, we are all at different levels, you know, of that. And so, what words of encouragement would you like to give right now, who just doesn't see the good, or doesn't see that they when they think? Because I know that there was a time for me when I would even think about my sister, I would just cry. Like I would just, like, I could not think about her. You know, I would just remove myself. And so I just can't even think about that person right now. Whoever wants to go first.
You want to go, April?
Sure. I actually wrote down some things just to make sure, because I thought about this all day yesterday and the process. So I wanted to just write and jot down some notes so that I, wouldn't forget some of the things that helped me right now in the process and previously. When I look back, as Martina mentioned, just even it was very difficult. My grandmother passed, and when my grandfather passed, those were times I had to reflect upon as well and see how did we make that through. How do we make it through?
Yeah.
And then draw from that strength and even some methods that we took on. But I think it's important, just some encouragement for anyone who finds themselves in grief. And actually, to be honest, as a nation, we're in grief.
Yeah.
So even if people don't feel like you're in a grieving process, you are. We every single person in the United States of America is grieving something, because our whole life has shifted. We've lost, even if you haven't lost a loved one, you've known someone who's lost someone. And we're all intertwined and connected in some way. We've lost numerous individuals, even if you don't know their name. We've lost some people have lost jobs. So grief is not just people. Grieving is the loss of things that you hold dear, or things that were a part of your routine in your life. When you lose that, there is a grieving process for that. So I would submit that everybody is in some form of grieving right now. And it's important for us to embrace that that's where we are, so we can develop the solutions for ourselves and not overlook it. But one encouragement I was going to give is not to say you're fine when you're not fine.
Right.
Because that's easy to do. How you doing? I'm fine. I'm good. I've learned, just to let people know right now, I'm not so good, but it'll get better. I always follow it up with, I know it's going to get better in the future, but right now I'm not going to lie to you. It's not good, or I'm not feeling well today, or today is just not that day. So I would encourage people to really be honest in their responses of where they are in the moment, and to let people know, no, right now I'm really grieving. And then also to reach out to people. I have really good friends that, if I'm not feeling well, I'll just, even if it's just a text, because sometimes you don't want to talk to people, you could shoot a text and say, today was that day that it just wasn't good. Or last week, I just turned to my husband. I said, I'm sad today. I just wanted to be, I'm sad today. Today, I'm sad. So I would encourage you, let it out, like say that. Say where you are. I wasn't looking for him to give me an answer. I wasn't looking for him to give me this whole long speech. No, just let me say it.
Yeah.
Just let me say it. So I would encourage people to like really let it out, to be honest with where you are, and don't just brush it over. Oh, I'm fine. No. Even if you find you a couple people that you can really just say it to. No, I'm not fine right now. I know it'll be better. Don't give me this long speech. I know it's gonna be better, but I just want to say right now, I'm not feeling, well. So that's one encouraging point that I put down. I think people should do that and just reach out. And I feel like when you reach out, it helps you reach in. So that was a point that I wanted to point out. It helps you reach inward, because you're not just suppressing your feelings and suppressing what you're going through, but you're reaching out, which essentially helps you reach in. I'm not going to keep it in there. It essentially helps me reach in, and then I'm able to reach around what I'm going around. I'm able to reach around it and see it from a different perspective as time goes on. It helps me broaden that lens to look around and reach around in other areas. And then, like for me, one thing that I'm doing is just striving to do things to honor people. That's encouraging along the way. If you know things that they enjoyed or things that they would want done, doing that gives you a sense of it's kind of like when you have a headache and you go take some Tylenol. That's why they call it pain relievers. It relieves it for a certain time. So I think when we do service and we do acts of love that represent that person or represents that thing that we are missing, it gives us that reliever of the grief. So I think that's a solution for me. It gives me a relief from it, because I'm doing different things that I know she would want done. When I had to go clean my mom's closet out, that was hard. It took me some days to regroup. But when I dropped it off at the Goodwill, I really felt good, like for real, because I know that is what she would do. That is her. Like she would want that done. And that just made me feel good when I took them there. But the process of actually cleaning the closet was very, very, very difficult. So let it out, reach out, which helps you reach in, and then you can reach around some things to honor your loved one.
That's good. And as you were talking, it just give yourself, don't put yourself on a set timeline. Sometimes we will be critical of ourselves, thinking, I hate when people say, I'm just going to say this, you going to get over it, because it really is not. Grief is not like something that you just get over, but you will get through it, and so don't beat yourself up because you think that by now I should be over it. It really isn't like that. You come to a space and you say, oh, I'm over it now. Because as you go through life, there will be times that even things may come that remind you of the person. It could be years later. It made me think about not too long ago, I was my aunt that I mentioned before. At this point, she passed away 22 years ago. I was driving through her neighborhood and literally I just, because she was such a big part of my life growing up. And I was cutting through their neighborhood, cutting through her street. And I just almost, and I had to, the way that I pulled myself together from that moment, and that's why I say it isn't that you get over it, is that you get through it and you develop coping mechanisms and you develop ways to manage your triggers. And so, like you said, April, it's not about suppressing it, but God will literally give you tools for you to help you to manage that trigger. So as I'm driving through her neighborhood, this well of emotion comes and I am about to just have a all out, driving. And the thing that God gave me to help me shift that trigger was that I literally started thanking him for all that she was in my life, all of the great times that we had as a child, all the ways that she helped to take care of us. All, like literally, I turned it into a moment of thanksgiving and gratitude. And so that's what God gave me to manage that moment. And so that's why I say don't ever think that, there's something wrong with you just because you're still dealing with these feelings. It's not a getting over. It's that God teaches you how to navigate through it. And one for me, a life verse is Psalm 61 verses 1 and 2, and particularly the part in 2 where it says, when my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. And so there's going to be times where your heart feels overwhelmed. Don't feel like, well, what's wrong with me because I'm still dealing with this? No, that's where we're just like, Lord, help me to manage through this moment. Help me to manage through this trigger. And even as you were talking about doing things in honor of that person, God, as we turn to God, like literally, it is so amazing when you look and see that there's different ways that he will place things in your life that are like a memorial to that person, that are a reminder of that person, or even just for me, reminders to me that God is in that moment with me. You know what I'm saying? Even down to us doing table talks. The close friend that I talked about and my older sister, we had talked about doing years ago. We talked about doing some type of show together. And so I thought about the fact that God in that, and at one point I remember saying, Lord, we had so many things we were supposed to do. And now, like what am I supposed to do? And I remember even thinking about when Mother Mally passed away, and I said, and women's ministry was starting to go, I'm like, why would you bring me to this time in life? And now these people, you like, what I mean? Like they're not here. And God spoke to me and said that everything that I was supposed to have in life, that is there. And I began to see, like, even like with us doing table talks, it's like a reminder to me that it's like you all, the two of you, are a memorial even unto, and that might sound crazy, but like God literally, he does things in such a way that like the what those, it's like the memorial is that whatever was imputed in your life and the deposits in your life from those individuals, that they're still going to manifest. You know what I'm saying? Like they are still forever with you. And so, just that, even as a word of encouragement, it is hard. It is hard not to have people physically with us, but God will manifest the deposits of what they were in your life even now. and it's like he will help us to see it. So, as you're going through the moments, turn to, I mean, like literally, God will give you tools, and he will give you the strength and the help that you need to make it through that moment. So, just allow yourself to walk through it. But the most important thing, and I'm gonna shut up after this, is literally walking through it and getting up through it. Though the wave knocks you down, that does not mean you have to stay down. Because when you're at the beach, if a wave knocks you down and you don't get up, you will end up being drowned. And that's one of the things that God has ministered to me, is that when it knocks you down, you have to get back up. Just because you got knocked down doesn't mean that you have to stay down. And my biggest word of encouragement is that when you're in a place that a human cannot reach, that God is there. Like literally, he will give you the strength to pick you up. And there have been times for me where it felt like God was embracing me and
Yeah.
holding me, so yeah.
Hmm. That's so true. I felt that. And you can feel the prayers of people when people are lifting you up, and you can feel that because it's just a supernatural strength. Like, it's not you. You know that it's something else that's helping you make it through, the days, and the strength to carry through. I like how you said it, to walk through it. Not that I'm just going to jump over and go over it. No, he's going to give me the tools and the strength to walk through it. And as we walk through it, then, those waves will come. You think about how, even visually speaking, how when you're at the beach and those waves, as it comes up to a certain level of the shore, it's not as forceful. It'll come up so far and then it's like just at your feet. Whereas if you were a little bit deeper, if you're first in the process, or if in the midst of a thicker part of it, it may come up to your waist. But if we just keep walking through it and we just let God keep carrying us, then as those waves come up and the water comes up, it may just be at your feet, and it's not at your waist level like it was. It subsides in its level of where it is for you. And truth be told, we still want the waters to touch us because we love those people. You know what I'm saying? I want the water to still touch me. I wanted to still touch. And I love how you said that deposits come out. Things that people say this, and I feel my mom, like her strength and sometimes even her sassiness or whatever. I feel it like, no, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be okay. I feel that part of her coming out as well. And even in some decisions I've had to make recently, I've done those feeling her like, oh, this is what she would do. This is what she would say. This is how. And so that deposit part is good. She left a deposit and I'm gonna live it out. That's what legacy does. Legacy keeps walking it out. It doesn't stop. It keeps walking it out. So that gives me joy too, to know that I'm honoring her to continue what she started. Bernice, can you hear us?
That's I agree 100%. I'm sitting here like, you all are ministering to me. Next week is my sister's birthday, and so as those of remembering your family causing you to grieve, to be aware that, okay, like you said, Martina, a trigger, and so I know that on the 30th, of her physically not being here. And so I have to go. Like when we go, we're talking about waves. And when you go to the beach, you have to take your sunscreen. You have to take your to the beach, and the waves are going to be there. And so this week prepare myself for next Saturday, because I know what that day is. And so I'm being kind to myself all week. I am protecting my peace at every cost all week because I don't want to go lay in bed. Our time, we already hit the day. We are going to be together, because we need each other's spirit. And so
Mm.
that's what I urge in plan for those and to implement what you plan, because let's plan things and then allow the emotions just say, oh, I'm just going to lay in bed. But that's not wanted us to live. She wanted us to thrive. She wanted us to be good. She wanted to know that we are good. I am choosing to we're choosing to be together, And so that's what I encourage anyone to know, you know. Um, I was talking about it, and I've always said my three sisters' name. Don't it just rolls off my mouth. And one time I was explaining something to someone, and I said her name, like, oh, she's not here, and that was a trigger. And so here I am in the middle of crying, in the middle of the store, crying, and I just cried. I didn't feel bad about it. This is where I am right now. And so those waves, April, you talked about the levels of waves since they come in. It's been 6-7 months since her transition came in, and it was a tsunami. It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of those little trickle waves. It was a tsunami, and it was like as if it was right back at that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to, okay, I'm to feel it, to face it, feel it, and breathe. That's
Yeah.
I use that three word term, feel it, sit free. That when it comes on, that I'm feeling right now, and then I have to allow myself to feel and breathe through it. Breathing has been a solution for me, because times grief can take, just like that tsunami can take your breath away, and you won't be able to breathe, and your body starts to react, heart pounding, and so you have to feel it, and then the breathe. So that is a tool that I would like to give to yourself, to face it, what you're the free. That's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
To whatever feeling, to go ahead and embrace it, feel it, face it, and then do your breath. And so I'm sorry, I was the first one to get emotional and let my tears
That's
flow.
all
I'm
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry, but it did happen. And so um we're closing out. I want to just give some who's in it right now, who doesn't know what um in the closing of this segment. um what words of wisdom? We've been dropping nuggets the whole session. But what words of wisdom in this moment? Martina?
My words of wisdom would be to, you know,
You are.
just to keep walking, you know, to keep moving, and on days where you can't move, take some time, as April was talking about earlier, and just be still and allow yourself to be refilled. That denial is not deliverance from it. That avoidance is not the answer, but literally that as we keep going forward, to keep living. And really, I know it may seem like um, just saying it, but memories are important. One of the things that I really value is spending time building memories, you know, because with everyone, there are memories that I can reflect back on, that, you know, like memories that make you smile, memories that make you laugh about that person, and just memories that make you thankful. And so, you know, I really try to spend intentionally, do things, and spend time building memories and recognizing, you know, like with after our last table talks, I was such a, I mean, I cried for probably half an hour or more after the last one, because a picture had popped up of when we had a family picture taken on that day, and that January, and I did not expect, none of us expected that when we left that year, that we would be leaving that year without my oldest sister. And so then I'm looking at the picture, and I start thinking about, you know, that she's of my, you know, bloods. I have siblings I've gained through marriage, but of my sibling for blood, it was four of us, and it's only me and my sister left. And so I'm sitting there like going through all of that and just crying, and and it was my spiritual mother's birthday. I mean, like, I was just having myself a whole boo-hoo session to where your eyes are hurting. And it's like after that moment went through, though, I really took time, just like, God, thank you for all of the memories. And even yesterday, in preparing for this, I thought about them. I thought about my Bishop Nichols and Prophetess Melanie Nichols. They helped to birth me out in ministry, and they really were, you know, close, not just where you spend time. And, you know, I mean, like, literally, they were a big part of who I am today. And I was, you know, like in that moment, feeling all types of things. But I really just thank God for all of the memories that I had with them, all of the time that I had with them. And so my word of wisdom is that when things come, in managing the trigger does not mean that you deny the moment. It means that you know, like, that God literally will give you the wisdom and the tool that you need to navigate through that moment. So yesterday, my navigational tool was thanking God for the memories and all that they poured into my life, and recognizing that their triggers are going to come, because we're human. But just because the moment has triggered you doesn't mean that it has to trap you. So, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm gonna close it out, but I remember a time, even as somebody, I was preparing to speak, and somebody said, what do you want me to call you? And it made me think of how Bishop Nichols always called me Reverend Tina, and I heard his voice, and I was like, but literally, that is memories for me have been such a very important thing, like using those memories as a tool to help me remember them in a positive way, and just be thankful to God for allowing me the time that I had, and literally, making that be that right now, don't take time and people for granted, to love on people while they're with you, to, what I mean, to take time to build memories, to not take any moment for granted, because that moment is going to be something that you reflect on. And I know that with us being in, as you said, even these times, we have mourned normalcy, but in these times, still find ways to build memories. We were not able to do all the things that we at one point this summer. I mourned our family vacation, because we were on vacation every
Yes,
summer, and we weren't able to do that.
this past the July of last year, we didn't get to take it, and we do it every couple years, and that hurt. Everybody was devastated. They were like, "No, we want our family vacation," and so we postponed it for this year, July, if everything's well for us to take it. But guess what? Now my mom's not going to be with us. So, like you said, you just got to treasure those moments, because the next opportunity, there may be someone not with us.
Yeah. Make the most of it. And you know what? The first year that we went on the vacation without my sister, my niece, we took a stuffed bear, because she loves stuffed animals. So we took a stuffed bear. My niece dressed her up in clothes. The bear was, and we call her the Tawana bear, and then she was still with us. So it really is just find what helps you. Everybody, this is not like one size fits all. It is not one size fits all. So you have to find the size that fits you, but just take the steps to find the size. So, yeah.
No, that's I like that, because each one of it. But that's why Table Talks is so good. We got to come to the table and talk, because I've gained some things from you and Bernice, and vice versa. Because when we have a conversation, we're just able to pick solutions or pick certain things for our strategies to get us through the process of grief. And talking about it is one of those things. So that would be my word of wisdom. I'm a communicator. I want to talk about it and recognize that sitting in silence is not a sign of depression. Sometimes you have to take those moments to sit in silence. That doesn't mean you're depressed, so don't label yourself. Look, we got the queen of no more labels on here. Don't put that label. You not depressed. Take that sticky note off of you. Listen, sitting in silence is a beautiful thing. That's something that society has taken away from us, because we want to be on the go all the time. Silence is therapeutic. It's beautiful. It's lovely. Look, even go to a beach. Sit on the beach in silence. You will hear the wave. Look, hear the wind. Just being so silent that you hear the wind. If you're on an ocean, that you can literally hear the wave and the ripples of the water. You know what I'm saying? That stuff like that is therapeutic. It's majestic. It takes us back even to the grounding of who we are in a connection with the Heavenly Father. So silence is beautiful. I want to just bring it out, because sometimes we do feel like, and then we do label people, oh, they depressed. No, I'm not depressed. I'm taking time. So silence is a beautiful thing. So take the time of silence. I want to also point out something Bernice said, is planning. Plan. It's okay to plan. Plan opportunities to even honor the person. That is a solution to grief to me. When you plan to honor, I'm already thinking about my mother's birthday is February the 22nd. Number one, I've already put in my day. I'm not going to see y'all on the 22nd. I plan. I put in the day, and actually I'm planning right now, what are we going to do? We're going to the cemetery. We're taking the grandchildren. We're going to make sure they have our headstone right. We're going to talk to the grandchildren. What do you want to take with you so that we can leave in honor of her, in honor of her life? So plan to honor. To me, that's a part of the process and a solution to grief, because I'm planning to honor that person and do things that they would want done. I love what Bernice said, stuff that her sister would want. You know, you're hearing that voice, them telling you, yeah, I want y'all to live. I want y'all to be, you know, you got to rehearse that thing of what they want. And it just makes you feel so much better because you're like, and that's why we got to talk about it too. I think one thing, and this is a whole nother episode probably, that I think we don't do as families is to talk about death. We're afraid to talk about it, but we have to. Let's talk about it, because what happens is because it's inevitable. We can avoid it if we want to, but it's inevitable. But when we talk about it, what happens is there's a thing called emotional assets. And when we think about wheels, we're always thinking about the house. Who's going to get the house? Who's going to get the car? But there's a such thing as emotional assets. And included in emotional assets is our words. Words are powerful. So if I can leave you the legacy of my word, this is what I desire. When, not if, because it's going to. When this happens to me, this is what I desire. Right. And when it does happen, you know, hopefully a lot of us want it to be definitely later than sooner, but we don't have a timetable of that. But when it does happen, if I'm able to honor what that person has shared with me and what I know that they desire, it doesn't make grief go away. It just makes it a little bit easier because I'm able to fulfill their request. So that's probably another table talk, because I think we as families don't talk about it enough. And I'm pushing my family. I'm getting with my aunt. Tell your children what you desire. And I've been telling my cousins, it's not just your parents telling you, because God forbid, we never want to bury our children, but it happens. So tell your parents, okay, where's this? Where's that? What would you like? What would you don't? Share with them, because emotional assets are so powerful. Emotional assets are important. So we need to share those while we're here. And lastly, only because I help individuals do books, sometimes you have to put your legacy in writing. Listen to me, write a book. I'm not talking about you being a New York's best time seller. No. I'm not meaning for you to have to be out here branding yourself and all of that. No, that's not everybody's fight. Everybody don't want to do that. Write a book of your story for your family and just publish it for them, so they will have it for you when you're gone. Emotional assets are important. So that's just my little spiel and my little plug there. Even for that, because I think it's important when you put stuff in writing. Bernice knows this, even about my mom. I always wanted to know her story. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the full, I wanted to put it in writing. I would have published her book for her. But you know what? I'm just going to take the nuggets that I do have and get it from people who know various things and still build a collection. If it's just for me and my children, if it's just for me and my children, it's worth it. It is worth it. So that's my 2 cents. Plan to honor. Plan to honor. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yes. That is a nugget. I love what you said, Martina, about managing your grief is not denial. That is a part of being good grief. But grief it's a part about managing your grief. Don't put yourself on a timeline. Say it should be here. No, you love that person so deeply that there is going to rise up in you, at times when you least expect it. A smell, so to know, just like we mentioned earlier, know your triggers, a smell, a song, a word would trigger. So if you are able to say, okay, I'm however long I'm be in it, I'm going to manage it, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to get up. I'm going to ground myself, plant myself, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to continue to move forward to our position of Table Talks. We pray that you all receive something from it, that you will be able to meet your life as it concerns solutions to grief. Always come and join us at the table. We love you. And if you would like to join us, we are going to start having guests at the table. Can join us, and it is Table Talks at gmail.com. And
Yeah.
so much for joining us for this session at Table Talks. We love you, and our email address is tabletalksllp@gmail.com. Thank you all for joining us at the table. And remember to warm up your leftovers and apply them. And so have a good, thank you so much for joining us at the table.